Imagine entering this world with a full tank of energy, untouched, sacred, divine. A spark of life so vibrant it could move mountains, paint galaxies, rewrite entire realities. And then, almost without notice, it begins. Not with force, not with violence, but with programming. From the moment you open your eyes, a quiet theft begins. It doesn't take your money. It doesn't steal your talents. It takes something far more precious, your life force, your energy. You don't remember giving it away. No one asked for your permission, because they didn't have to. They built a world where you'd freely surrender it. Every day, every hour, every thought, every reaction, you wake up tired, go through the motions, end the day feeling heavy, and you tell yourself it's just stress, just life, just normal. But what if it isn't? What if your exhaustion isn't natural, but engineered? What if your emotional fatigue, your mental fog, your constant sense of being behind is not your failure, but the success of a system that was designed to drain you? Because that's the truth. From the day you were born, you entered into a web, invisible, normalized and reinforced at every level of modern life. You didn't just inherit a body, you inherited a debt, not financial, energetic. They gave you a name, a number, a nationality. They told you who you are, what's real, what's good, what's dangerous. And then they handed you a script. Wake up, get in line, work hard, consume, don't question, stay busy. And we believed them, not because we were weak, but because we were young, open, programmable. Our minds hadn't learned to filter illusion from truth, so we adapted, we obeyed, we complied. And that's how the siphoning began. Because in this world, your energy is currency, and someone else is cashing in. They don't want your awareness. They want your reaction. They don't want your wisdom. They want your attention. They don't want your freedom. They want your compliance. And the more you give, unknowingly, unconsciously, the more drained you become, not just physically, spiritually. You think it's your job that's exhausting you. You think it's parenting, or responsibilities, or the world falling apart. But go deeper, and you'll feel it. It's not just what you do, it's what you're plugged into. A system that thrives off of your depletion. You weren't born to be this tired. You weren't born to dread the morning. You weren't born to collapse into bed every night feeling like something's missing, but not knowing what. You were born to create, to feel deeply, to imagine wildly, to expand infinitely. But you can't do any of that when your energy is leaking out of 1,000 tiny wounds you've never been allowed to name. And that's how they win, through normalization. You're told that success means hustling endlessly, that rest is laziness, that being busy equals being valuable, that being constantly reachable is being responsible. You're told to stay informed, even if it makes you sick, to stay connected, even if it drains your soul, to stay productive, even when your body is begging you to stop. But none of this is accidental. The system was designed to consume you slowly, and it does it with precision. Through the screen you can't look away from, through the notifications that hijack your peace, through the stories that flood your mind with fear, division, outrage, through the voices that tell you who to hate, who to worship, who to be. Every time you react, you pay. Every time you defend your opinion, you pay. Every time you scroll past your intuition, you pay. Not with money, but with life force. And the more you give, the less you have left for what actually matters, your vision, your healing, your evolution. But here's the moment everything changes. When you see it, when you finally see the system for what it is, the spell begins to break. Because you can't reclaim what you never realized was taken. But now you know, and that knowing is your doorway. This is not about blaming. It's not about becoming angry. It's not even about rebellion. It's about remembering that your energy is sacred, that your focus is power, that your awareness is the most dangerous thing in the world to those who seek to control you. Because when you reclaim your energy, you reclaim your choices. When you reclaim your attention, you reclaim your direction. And when you reclaim your presence, you become ungovernable. So ask yourself, Who benefits from my exhaustion? Who profits from my distraction? Who thrives when I abandon myself? And then ask, who would I be if I refused to give another ounce of energy to a game I never agreed to play? This isn't just about fatigue. This is about freedom, not the kind they sell you with flags and slogans, the kind that comes from sovereignty, from knowing that your energy is yours, and no one has the right to steal it, shape it, or sell it back to you. That's where we're going, and it begins right now. They didn't need permission to drain you, because they were never after your body, they were after your signal. Your attention is the thread that weaves reality into form. It's the lens through which the quantum field collapses into experience. And they know this. They've always known this. So rather than fight you, they simply redirected you, gave you things to fear, to chase, to fix, to become. They fractured your attention, not by accident, but by design. Because fragmented energy is powerless energy, and powerless people are easy to guide, easy to mold, easy to extract from. Look around, it's everywhere. News cycles that cycle you into despair, notifications that inject adrenaline into your bloodstream, social platforms that masquerade as connection but thrive on division. Every ping is a hook, every scroll is a siphon, every reaction is a download, not of truth, but of programming. And you don't even see it, because it's become normal. It's become ambient. You live inside the machine that feeds on you, but it's wrapped in convenience and comfort. You were told it's progress, that it's freedom. But what kind of freedom leaves you drained, addicted, anxious, and numb? What kind of freedom costs you your attention span, your sleep, your joy, your presence? This isn't freedom, it's an upgrade to the cage. And the bars aren't steel, they're mental, emotional, invisible, which makes them harder to escape. But escape is possible, because awareness is the jailbreak. The moment you see that your energy is being harvested, you've already disrupted the feed. You become a glitch in their program, a question mark in their matrix, and nothing threatens the system more than a conscious being who remembers that their focus is sovereign. Because when you become aware of how they drain you, you also become aware of what recharges you. And that's the real shift. You stop outsourcing your energy and begin cultivating it. You stop consuming and begin creating. You stop reacting and begin responding. And in that space, you become powerful again. Let's be clear, this isn't about perfection. It's not about cutting all cords overnight. It's about awareness first, then intention, then sovereignty. Reclaiming your energy isn't a single moment. It's a lifestyle. A daily remembering that you are not a battery for their system. You are a generator of your own timeline. And that generator activates every time you choose clarity over chaos, presence over performance, embodiment over distraction. The truth is, the game is everywhere. But so is your power. It lives in the pause before you react, in the breath you take before you scroll, in the choice to be bored rather than overstimulated. Because in that boredom, your signal clears. And in that clarity, your original frequency, the one you had before the programming, begins to return. That frequency is your compass. It's the hum of your true self. And it's been drowned out by years of noise, but it's still there, waiting. So start small. Notice where your energy leaks. Is it the news, the inbox, the arguments that go nowhere, the pressure to perform for an audience that doesn't know you? Those are programs, and every time you feed them, you fuel a version of reality that keeps you fragmented. But every time you withdraw your energy, even for a moment, you begin to collapse that version. And in its place, you create space. Space for your own frequency to stabilize, space for your nervous system to heal, space for your imagination to wake up. That space is sacred. Guard it, defend it. Not with aggression, but with intention. Your life force is not a resource for algorithms to feed on. It's a sacred current that was never meant to be sold, and you don't have to keep giving it away. You can choose again. right now. To look away from the screen, to leave the fight, to walk off the stage, and to return to your center. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Your center is where the real technology lives. The ancient technology, the inner tech, the frequency of awareness, of clarity, of self-remembrance. That frequency can't be monetized, can't be harvested. It lives beneath your reactions, beneath your labels, beneath your roles. And once you find it, once you feel it, you'll realize something. You were never actually broken. You were just drained by a world that doesn't want you sovereign. Because a sovereign being doesn't obey blindly. A sovereign being doesn't buy meaning. A sovereign being doesn't look for truth in the mouths of those who profit from their confusion. A sovereign being is unprogrammable. And that is the real threat. So of course they distract you. Of course they sell you division, outrage, fear. Because as long as you're plugged in, you're manageable. As long as you're split, you're predictable. As long as you're exhausted, you're harmless. But the moment you unplug, even just a little, you begin to vibrate differently. And when your frequency changes, so does your reality. This is the observer effect in motion. You are the observer. You are the field. And the version of reality that shows up depends entirely on who you choose to be while observing it. So who are you now? Not the version they programmed, the one you remember, the one who walks through this world with eyes open and energy intact, the one who understands that attention is the new battlefield, and reclaiming it is the most radical act you can commit. The trap isn't built with bars, it's built with belief. The system doesn't need to restrain you if it can convince you to restrain yourself. That's the brilliance of the design. It doesn't take your energy by force. It offers you choices, false ones. It gives you sides, left or right, this team or that, identity or ideology, and makes you feel like choosing is freedom. But you're not choosing. You're being funneled, herded through illusions that keep you engaged, invested, enraged. Because as long as you're in the game, they win. It doesn't matter which side you choose. They own both sides. The conflict is theater, the debate is distraction, and the moment you pick a team, you stop asking who built the arena. That's how energy extraction hides in plain sight. You think you're fighting for truth, but you're actually fueling the system. You think you're protecting your values, but you're just repeating the program. Because they don't care what you believe, only that you keep believing in division. Because division is consumption. It consumes your time, your focus, your peace. Every opinion you defend becomes a string around your energy. Every argument you chase is a leak in your frequency, and you don't even realize it, because they've trained you to identify with the mask. Your race, your nation, your job title, your political party, your trauma. These things may describe your experience, but they do not define your essence. Still, they're marketed to you as identity. And the moment you attach your worth to them, you become programmable. A walking frequency of reaction, easy to target, easy to manipulate, because when your energy is tied to labels, you can be baited with emotion. This is the art of control without chains. They don't have to imprison your body if your mind is locked in narratives you didn't choose. And the cost? Your energy. Your energy isn't just being used, it's being monetized. Your anger is a product. Your division is a business model. You're scrolling, clicking, debating. It's all data, all value, all currency for a machine that doesn't care if you wake up, as long as you keep participating. And every minute you do, your life force becomes theirs. But there is a way out, and it begins with the most radical act in a divided world. Detachment. Not apathy, not avoidance, detachment. The ability to observe without absorbing, to care without collapsing, to feel without fusing. This is emotional sovereignty, and it's what breaks the system's grip. When you no longer take the bait, the game begins to unravel. When you see the cycle without being sucked into it, you reclaim your energy. And that energy, once reclaimed, becomes clarity. And from clarity, you can create, not react, create a new internal signal, a new timeline, a new reality. But to do that, you must first face the uncomfortable truth. You've been complicit, not consciously, not maliciously, but you've given your power to a world that profits from your distraction. That's not shame, that's recognition. And recognition is liberation. Because once you see how deeply you've been conditioned, you can stop blaming the outside world for your inner depletion. You can stop waiting for the world to heal you and start generating the energy you've been leaking. Because the real crime isn't that they tried to drain you, it's that they convinced you to drain yourself, to chase approval, to perform worthiness, to earn rest, to abandon intuition, to silence your soul in favor of fitting in. And the healing? It's not in fighting the system, it's in no longer needing it. It's in becoming so energetically whole that the game can no longer use you as a player. That is the revolution, energetic self-ownership, not as an idea, as a practice, a way of being, a frequency you choose again and again. Even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs you comfort, because real freedom will always feel unnatural at first in a world that's trained you for captivity. But your body remembers, your soul remembers. Beneath the programs, you know, you've always known, that this world wasn't meant to drain you, it was meant to reflect you. And if what it's reflecting doesn't match who you are, the answer isn't to beg the mirror. The answer is to change the signal. You are the signal. You are the field. You are the observer. And when you reclaim your energy, you reclaim the power to collapse a new version of reality into form. One that doesn't feed on your exhaustion, but expands through your awareness. But it begins with choice, small at first. The choice to unplug, to disengage, to pause, to reflect. And in that pause, you remember, this energy is mine. My thoughts are mine. My focus is mine. And no screen, no headline, no echo chamber owns the right to dictate where my life force flows. That is the beginning. And it's available to you now. You can't just unplug from the system, you have to replug into yourself, because energy doesn't just disappear, it redistributes. And when you stop leaking energy into illusion, you open space for a return, a remembrance, a reset. But the body must learn what the mind has forgotten, that rest is not weakness, that stillness is not laziness, that doing less is not failure, it's frequency alignment. For too long, you've associated power with pressure, movement with meaning, action with worth. But that too is programming, a distortion, a lie that says your value only exists in output. But what if your value was in presence? What if the most powerful thing you could offer the world wasn't your performance, but your unshakable peace? Because peace is not passive, it's magnetic. And the moment you begin to live from that state, the energy that was once stolen begins to return. Your nervous system is not broken, it's overloaded. It's been forced to operate in survival mode for years, hijacked by alerts, flooded with cortisol, conditioned to scan for threats even in silence. You were not made to process this much stimulation, this much noise, this much artificial urgency, and your body, your sacred vessel, has been whispering to you the entire time, begging you to slow down, to unplug, to ground. Because grounding is not a luxury, it's a reconnection to the original circuit, earth, breath, self. And when you return to that circuit, the energy begins to flow again, not through the filters of performance or fear, but directly, clearly, powerfully. This is why stillness heals, why solitude strengthens, because in stillness, your energy returns home. And from that place, you choose differently. You don't react to the headline, you don't chase the click, you don't argue to prove, you listen deeper, you walk slower, you feel again. And feeling is the language of the field. It tells you everything: where your energy wants to go, what it wants to create, who it wants to become. But you can't access that guidance when you're fragmented. That's why the first step is always the same. Simplify. Clear the noise. Reduce the input. Cancel the subscriptions to identities you no longer align with. Say no. Not from avoidance, but from sovereignty. Create space not just in your schedule, but in your energy body. Because space is where spirit speaks. And spirit is always trying to speak to you. Through your fatigue, through your resistance, through your longing for more. Not more things, more truth, more coherence, more you. The system will tell you that more is always better, but that's the addiction. That's the trap. More opinions, more urgency, more productivity. But what you really need is less. Less stimulation, less comparison, less should, and more self. Self-attunement, self-trust, self-respect. Because when you begin to live in harmony with your own frequency, your energy stops leaking. Your life becomes efficient, not in speed, but in resonance. You do less. You receive more. You try less. You align more. And everything changes, not because you forced it, but because you became the version of you that naturally attracts the shift. This is frequency architecture. You don't build a new reality from exhaustion. You build it from embodiment. And embodiment happens when the mind and body and breath say the same thing. I'm home now. I'm not reacting. I'm not reaching. I'm not trying to be anyone else. I'm just here, breathing, noticing, choosing. And in that presence, you remember your power. Because power isn't noise, it's depth. It's the calm in your eyes when everyone else is panicking. It's the pause before the storm, the clarity in the chaos. And you only get there when you choose to exit the cycle. Not the cycle of doing, the cycle of depletion. When you say, no more selling my energy to systems that don't serve me, no more chasing validation from people who don't see me, no more abandoning my body to fit someone else's urgency, no more being a character in their script. You're not here to play a role. You're here to write a new story, one that begins with energy returning. But it requires your participation. Reclamation is not a concept, it's a practice. It's turning off the noise, stepping into nature, saying no without guilt, creating without permission, resting without apology, being present without performance. And it's not always easy, because the system will call you selfish, lazy, irresponsible. But those are just echoes of a world that fears your autonomy. Because once you reclaim your energy, you reclaim your clarity. And clarity makes you unpredictable, uncontrollable, free. That is what they fear. Not rebellion, not revolution, but calm, clear, sovereign humans who remember who they are and stop feeding the system with their unconscious energy. That's what we're becoming. And it starts here, in the breath, in the silence, in the choice to unplug, not just from the device, but from the pattern, the program, the performance, and to replug into source, your source, the real you, the one they tried to distract out of existence, the one that doesn't need to prove anything to be worthy of everything. You don't have to earn your energy back. You just have to stop giving it away. And that begins now. It always comes down to a moment, a single moment, not loud, not dramatic, but clear. The moment when you stop trying to fix the old world and start building a new one from the inside out. This is that moment. Because now you see it. You've seen the trap, the energy drain disguised as culture, news, obligation, success. You've seen how they programmed your nervous system to confuse exhaustion with virtue, how they trained you to equate burnout with purpose, how they convinced you that your worth was measured in depletion. But here's the truth. Your worth has never been external. It lives in your frequency, in your signal, and that signal is yours to reclaim. Not tomorrow, not when things slow down. Now, in this breath, in this body, in this space. You don't need to wait for the world to change. You are the change. And the most revolutionary act you can commit is to stop giving your sacred energy to the machine and start giving it back to yourself. So let's do that now. A reset, a ritual, a declaration. First, close your eyes. Take a breath, not a shallow one, a full one. Let it move through your spine. Let it remind you, you are here. You are sovereign. You are electric. Now, visualize all the chords, the energetic strings pulling at your focus, the arguments, the notifications, the roles you're playing, the expectations you're carrying. See them, all of them. And now, with every breath, begin cutting them. Not with violence, with presence, with clarity, with the knowing that you don't belong to them, that your energy was never meant to be outsourced, that your power is coming home. Keep breathing. With every exhale, you shed a version of you that was built in survival. With every inhale, you become more coherent, more present, more you. Now speak these words. Not with your voice, but with your frequency. I withdraw my energy from everything that no longer honors my truth. I return to my center. I reclaim my power. I am no longer a source for their system. I am the source for my own life. Say it again, this time with embodiment. I withdraw my energy from everything that no longer honors my truth. I return to my center. I reclaim my power. I am no longer a source for their system. I am the source for my own life. Let that vibrate through you. Let it recalibrate your field. Because it's not just a statement, it's an energetic reset. And from here, everything changes. You begin to design your day around your signal. You become aware of what drains you, and you choose differently. You stop consuming to escape and start creating to expand. You stop numbing and start nourishing. You stop reacting and start responding from alignment. And that ripple moves outward. People feel it. Your relationships shift. Your environment shifts. Your body softens. Your sleep deepens. Your vision returns. Because when your energy is yours again, you become a magnet for coherence. The chaos no longer feels personal. The noise no longer hooks you. The system no longer owns you. You become unavailable for anything that doesn't match the truth of your frequency. That is liberation. Not a slogan, not a dream, a practice, lived in every breath, chosen in every moment. Because freedom isn't something you wait for, it's something you embody. It's in your walk, your words, your boundaries, your silence. And when enough of us reclaim it, the system cannot survive. Not because we burned it down, but because we stopped feeding it. You don't dismantle a matrix by force. You render it irrelevant by remembering who you are. You exit the illusion by being too aligned to participate in the performance. That is how energy returns. That is how reality shifts. Not through rebellion, through resonance. So what now? Start small. Turn off the feed. Go outside. Sit in the sun. Feel the ground. Breathe with the trees. Move your body. Create something useless and beautiful. Say no. Say yes. Say less. Rest deeply. And let rest become your revolution. Reclaim one corner of your life, then another, then another. And with each reclamation, the signal strengthens, the path clears, the energy flows. This is not a one-time awakening. It's a lifestyle of remembering. So, if you've made it this far, you've already started. Now keep going. Keep choosing yourself. Keep unplugging from their noise and plugging into your essence, because that's where your real life begins, not in the system, but beyond it. You are not here to be a battery. You are here to be a beacon, and your light, your peace, your frequency, is the greatest disruption of all. So take one last breath. Exhale the version of you who didn't know. Inhale the version who cannot forget. The system may still exist, but your participation ends now. If this message woke something inside you, don't just scroll away. Drop a comment below, hit like and subscribe to Mystery Skool today, because we're just getting started.